The police were banging on my front gate like I was some kind of criminal mastermind, their cruisers lined up in the dust outside my ranch, red and blue lights cutting the Texas morning in two. You ever see 4 squad cars at your door just because of a fence? Yeah, that happened. One of them grabbed a bullhorn, voice cold as winter. Step away from a gate. This is an official order. But I hadn't robbed a bank, hadn't broken any law, I'd just put up a metal cattle gate. The same gate I'd always had, except this time I doubled up the steel after someone rammed it with a pickup trying to send a message. But that morning was different. Now, the Homeowners Association, the HOA I'd never joined, had sued me, claimed I was blocking a public road they'd carved straight through the middle of my private land. A road that didn't even exist until 3 months ago, a strip of pavement dividing my pasture, spooking my horses, and slicing my ranch in half as if I was just a squatter. Now, backed by the law, they wanted me to open the gate and let their world spill through mine. I took a breath, hands in the air, voice calm but stubborn. This is private land. That road is illegal. One cop shouted, "Sir, unlock the gate or we will force entry." That's when I dug my boots in. I'm not unlocking anything. In fact, every HOA member is now banned from setting foot on my land. The officers hesitated. My wife Emily came out right then, folder in hand, eyes cool, voice steady. "Maybe you gentlemen should check the property lines before making a mistake you'll regret." And just like that, everything started to unravel. Let me back up a sec. My name's Jack Coleman, 56, retired firefighter. I've called this 100-acre ranch in Texas home for close to 2 decades. Emilimi Wi-Fi's a paralegal, sharp as a tack and twice as determined. We came here after my spinal injury forced me to leave the firehouse, wanting a quiet life, space to breathe, a place for horses and honesty. I kept to myself, paid my taxes, donated hay to the animal shelter in hard times, let the local middle school kids learn about ranch life every spring. I'm nobody's enemy. So when the folks in the fancy new subdivision next door started up their HOA, I just waved from my fence and let them be. Until the day I saw bulldozers rolling onto my property uninvited. At first, I thought maybe it was a mistake. Then I limped over, old injury aching, and saw Curtis, one of the HOA, board members smirking while orange-vested men carved a road through my lower pasture. "Can I help you?" he asked, like I was the trespasser. I pointed at the mess. "What's that doing here?" He barely blinked. "Oh, that's an access road. Voted on it. Makes things easier for our community emergencies, school buses, you know. Increases your property value." I almost laughed. "You didn't ask. You didn't notify. Didn't get a permit from me. This is my land." Curtis shrugged. "Eminent domain laws. Look it up." But he was bluffing. Emily tore through county records maps, deeds, GPS pins. That road wasn't legal, wasn't on any plan. No vote, no permit, no easement. They just built it, then told me I had to keep it open. So I did what any landowner with an ounce of pride would do. I put up a reinforced gate, added a camera, hung big no trespassing signs, and locked it down. That night someone plowed their car through my gate, wrecked my fence, and hurt one of my mares. Next morning, there was a note on the mailbox. "Enjoy your little protest. You'll hear from our lawyers." Sure enough, 2 days later, lawsuit. The HOA claimed I was violating their right-of-way. Couldn't sleep. Sat at the table, old family photos in hand, thinking about my dad and what he'd do. We'd always told our kids to do the right thing, even when nobody's looking. But what do you do when bullies act in broad daylight? Emily and I weren't backing down. We hired a surveyor, found a real estate attorney, started documenting everything: dates, license plates, videos. I read the HOA bylaws front to back. Turns out their power ends where their property ends. But Curtis and his crew didn't slow down. They called me a public danger, spread rumors, even got a local paper to print a hit piece. Man block school route for ranch standoff. Emily wanted to fight fire with fire, but I told her to let the facts speak. And then came today, the cops at my gate. What they didn't know was that Emily had already filed a cease and desist order in court, and Judge Danielson, old, no-nonsense man, with a booming voice, had signed it that very morning. As the officer stepped forward, A black SUV rolled up behind the cruisers. Curtis went pale. The door swung open, and out stepped Emily, this time flanked by 2 U.S. Marshals and the judge himself. The whole yard went quiet. "Who's in charge here?" the judge barked. The deputy started to answer, but Daniels cut him off. "No, I am. And I have an emergency injunction. This land is private, this road is illegal, and the HOA is in violation of state law." Curtis tried to speak, but the judge sliced him down with a look. "Touch this land again, and you'll be arrested for contempt of court. Do I make myself clear?" Curtis looked like he might faint. The officers retreated. I stepped forward. "Your Honor, I have video evidence of HOA members vandalizing my property, even a hit and run that injured my horse." Emily handed a USB to the marshal. Curtis tried to slip away, but the marshal stopped him cold. "Let me tell you, this was just the tip of the iceberg. Because months before, I'd seen developers scouting the fence line blueprints, plans, jokes about how easy it was to take land from an old cowboy. Emily found out that the HOA had forged documents, claimed part of my ranch was vacant and up for grabs. They ignored our complaints, let their kids race through my fields, even asked to host parties in my barn. It got ugly. Someone cut my fences, spray-painted cameras, and left "This isn't over" scrawled on a ripped "No trespassing" sign. But I've been building my own Casey stack of witness statements, photos, even a whistleblower from the construction crew, who sent us proof the HOA knew what they were doing was illegal. Emily drafted a lawsuit, and we went public, posted everything online. The story went viral, and suddenly we weren't fighting alone. One night, I caught teenagers from the HOA side with gasoline, ready to torch my barn. Sheriff arrested them. Turns out one was Curtis's son. Next day, the HOA sued me again, this time for harassment. But we didn't budge. Judge Daniels granted us a protective order. No HOA member could set foot on my land, ever. Then the DA found proof Curtis and other board members had tampered with county records. Now they were facing criminal charges. That should have been the end. But my barn still burned to the ground. Arson, confirmed by the fire chief. The footage showed Curtis's son and 2 masked adults pouring gasoline. In court, Curtis was handcuffed, his lawyer speechless. Judge Daniels ruled for us. Permanent easement. Every inch of our land protected. But you know how these stories go. Just when you think you're safe, there's another knock. We got a packaged drone photo of our ranch with a red X and the words, "You're not safe yet." The sheriff said it was someone in the HOA, someone scared of what Curtis might spill. And spill he died, confessed. Sandra, the HOA president, was the real puppet master, siphoning money, bribing county clerks, and filing fraudulent plans for parks and developments that included our land. Sandra ran, but the feds caught up. Then Curtis called from jail. It wasn't just Sandra. The real boss is Troy Maddox, the developer who sold Ridgeway the land. He forged the easement papers. Be careful, Jack. He's dangerous. I called in a favor from an old friend, a retired investigator. He dug up everything. Troy was a serial scam, artist fraud, bribery, illegal developments across 3 states. We brought the whole file to court. Judge Daniels banned Troy from my land, flagged his developments for review, and the DA opened a criminal case. Still, the Ridgeway HOA kept filing appeals, hoping to drag us down with money and stress. But we kept fighting. The media picked up the story, donations poured in, and even a state senator stepped in, introducing a bill to stop HOAs from overreaching, inspired by what we'd endured. For a moment, it seemed like peace was back. My horse is safe, Emily at my side, a new steel gate locking out the world. But then a new letter arrived, this time from the Federal Land Bureau. The government wanted to negotiate for our land as part of a big infrastructure project. I stood there, paper in hand, Emily reading over my shoulder, and realized this fight was never just about fences or roads. It was about standing up to anyone, private or public, who thinks they can steal what's yours. So we went public again, press conference, social media, alliance of neighbors from across Texas. When the government surveyors showed up, they found a wall of people in my fence line, teachers, veterans, ranchers, students, everyone saying, "You can't steal roots. This land is our story." The feds backed off. We turned our ranch into a conservancy-protected, untouchable. Not for sale, not for taking. Now, as I stand by my rebuilt barn, horses grazing under the morning sun, Emily's arms around me, I know we did more than win a lawsuit. We proved no matter how strong your enemy seems, justice is stronger if you fight together. If you're out there facing bullies in suits or badges, remember you have a voice, you have rights, and you are never, ever alone. So what do you think? Did we go too far or not far enough? Where does justice end and community begin? Let me know, because this story isn't just mine anymore. It's all of ours.